Hi guys, welcome back to our viewers, and for the first time viewers, karibuni. This is a Liminal Minds, where minds color beyond the margins. Today it's a bit of an overcast in Nairobi. I hope from wherever you're watching and whenever you're watching, everyone is doing okay back at home. And if you're not okay, it gets better, hopefully by the end of this episode, either you feel better or your load feels lighter. I'm excited today because we have a guest. We're going to talk about mental health myths and misconceptions. We're going to talk about stigma. We're going to talk about our life experiences. So I'm going to welcome our guest. She's a psychologist. She's a passionate lived experience advocate, proud mother to the cutest little boy, psychologist by profession with 10 years in the mental health field. She's the founder of Mental Heaven, a wellness initiative open to providing mental health safe spaces and for individuals, and advocating on social issues, particularly in inclusion of persons with psychosocial disability on an equal basis in society, and also a good friend of mine. Grace, karibu.
Thank you.
So like we've known each other for a very long time. Actually, the first time we met, I was looking for a safe space for, when I was, I was trying to figure out ADHD, depression, anxiety. And the space that you provide, it helped a lot. And before we get into our today's discussion, you're a new mom.
Yeah.
How is being a new mom, especially with everything that you go through, as well with everything with the condition that you live? How has it been?
Oh my God, it's been the best experience ever.
Okay.
It's been of course it has its ups and downs, but I thought it would have been so much worse.
Yeah.
And it was nothing like I expected it to be. When you have lived experience, there's always this scare of you're gonna get postpartum depression, you're going to have a breakdown, you might harm your child. There's always all these fears. You're going to be a bad mom.
Yeah.
You wouldn't figure it out.
Maybe for the viewers, I think you should give them the context, what your lived experience encompasses.
Because, okay, so I have lived experience in ADHD and bipolar too.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a real, I had already given myself like a life sentence. Like, I'm never gonna have children. I'm not going to fast this down. I felt like I was going to be a really bad mom. But it has been completely opposite.
Yeah.
It's given me more grounding. It's made me more, like I want to wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
It's given me meaning.
And that is not easy.
It's not easy, especially for people. I remember I used to have people like us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I loved the whole concept. I think you're really good at coming up with names.
Yeah. No, it is still there. The Liminal Minds is still a part of
people
like us.
Yeah. So for people like us, it is quite difficult. But then again, to want to even have the will to live,
Yeah.
So it's been a major grounding experience for me. Yeah.
And the baby is healthy, he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. He's an amazing boy. He's just my heart.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear. It's encouraging. And again, for a lot of us, this prospect, like we look at our lives from a point of, we struggle a lot. We imagine the extra responsibility and we only imagine failure. So to have a story like yours, for you to be here now, I think it's encouraging. I hope, and the reason why I felt it is important for us to mention that part of yours is so that even with all the struggles we are going through, it's not easy. Even imagine, even for this episode to plan it, it was there was a lot of back and forth. But I mean, even quote unquote people who don't live with mental illnesses, they also have their own struggles. So it's not something unique. It's just that we kind of have to figure our way around and give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
So today the theme was demystifying mental health in Kenya. You are a psychologist by profession. Of course, you have the plus your lived experience, but you've also run Mental Heaven, which offered psychosocial support for people who are struggling. And Mental Heaven has been around for a long time, so like even at the basis, let's start by just definition, like try and explain to people, because this podcast is about mental health and neurodiversity, because like even from our experiences, a lot of people talk about mental health, but with our specific conditions, maybe there's not as many conversations as they need to be had. So like, could you define for people what mental health is and also what neurodiversity is?
Okay, I want to give a very simple definition. Because I've realized we do have a lot of, let me say professional jargon, which doesn't really help people understand. So simply I see, or rather I state mental health as, our ability, like how we think leads to how we feel, and it leads to how we act. So your mental well-being is basically that. Like it's the well-being of how you think, and which leads how you feel and how you behave. So that's the simple definition I give for mental health. And another misconception is, I usually hear people, even when us guys started advocacy, there was always that thing for what's your mental health. I never used to understand that question because what are you asking me? So but that I like to include that in that definition, that everyone has mental health. So if maybe that mental health is distorted or it's affected by something, that's when maybe you have a mental health problem or you have mental health condition, and it varies. It can be a permanent one or it can be a situational one. So neurodiversity is actually not a mental illness. It's more of if you want to technically call it a mental illness, but it's more of a neurological condition, meaning you can get it. It's more congenital, if you ask me. You can get it from birth. You can get it maybe at an early age because of extreme exposure to trauma. So as there's I don't know if he's a professor, but he's a doctor, a psychiatrist called Gabomate. He talks about ADHD. He was diagnosed at an older age. And for him, ADHD is a response to trauma. Because he was born during the Holocaust. So he attributes his ADHD to the exposure to that trauma, not having his mom, not being exposed to that conflict and all that stuff. So for him, he attributes ADHD to exposure of trauma. And I would like to agree with him, because once I look at my lived experience with ADHD, it's sort of attached to trauma. To childhood trauma.
Okay, because their definition, when I was researching for this, their definition that I found was neurodiversity is a natural variation to the human brain that affects how we think, how we feel, and how we behave. And I think that is the axis between mental health and neurodiversity, whereby with neurodiversity is that there's a variation, maybe how the minds operate, how the minds are wired. Okay. And even when you speak about you've mentioned how trauma is responsible for ADHD, and that goes into, so first of one of the things that I wanted to cover was mental illness in this country is viewed as a curse, or a punishment from God. Like, there is a lot of misinformation on what causes mental illness. How do you usually respond to that?
When you're asked what causes mental illness?
Yeah, that basically that,
Okay. So there is just the general answer where it's caused by biological factors. Like, as we were talking about neurodiversity, I always go to ADHD, but there are so many others. There's CP, there's
autism, there's Down syndrome.
So it's that there's the diversity in that, and for mental illness, when it occurs, it's because of biological factors, which is neurological factors, and there's generational, let me say your genes. But many people ask, so when you come from a healthy environment, does that gene get activated or something? But I think there are people who might have it in their family, but the environment does it all. You know. So another factor also is the environmental factor that causes, as I was talking about Gabomante, that exposure to extreme trauma can cause mental illness. And also, there's those three main aspects that we give: biological, genetic, and environmental. And others may be due to an illness. There are women who may be suffering from this thing for the thyroidism, and it also has an aspect of depression. So there are some illnesses that come from, now it's also the biological effects from illnesses. So for example, if you have maybe a brain tumor and it affects a part of your brain, and so you get depressed, or you're not, your brain is not generating enough neurotransmitters or happy hormones. So you end up getting depression because of maybe certain medication, whatever. So there's that aspect of also of illness.
It's important that you mention neurotransmitters. I don't think enough people acknowledge that there is a chemical aspect to it, where a chemical imbalance could cause, it's just that, as you mentioned, maybe the environmental factors. Because like the guest that we had the last episode was, he's a poet. He had depression for a while, but there was something that in his life triggered it. He was treated. Now he's doing better. But at the end of the day, he acknowledged that it is something that is there. So he has to be aware of the life that he's living, the things that occur to him, because it's just, it just needs something to trigger it. So like, I think people have to, it's important for people to distinguish that there are people who are predisposed, but labda, life tu kidogo, things like life stressors, na zinakuanga kila mahali, loss of someone, loss of work, grief, there are many things that could that could cause it. So for when you're saying biological, does that include things like giving birth, or is that a separate thing? Because I was thinking of something like postpartum depression. Does that fall under the biological factors? It's let me say it can, because at the end of the day, it's something that's getting triggered in you so that you can get this condition. And a lot of people who are predisposed are the ones who are maybe vulnerable to getting the postpartum. However, you can be okay all your life, and then you give birth and all of a sudden you're depressed. And what people don't know about postpartum depression, it actually continues for a very long time if you don't manage it, or if you don't acknowledge it. So you can be thinking, it's just mothers of newborn children. But you'll find there's a mother of a 30-year-old, she's still going through postpartum depression because she never addressed it. So you'll find this mom maybe caused havoc in the child's life and also passed on the trauma because they did not manage their postpartum depression. So postpartum depression can also be considered in the biological terms. We probably need to have that conversation and have more mothers who here maybe who've experienced it, because I think there are people who are familiar with it. But myself included, my level of understanding is really, really superficial, because I know what it sounds like. I know the symptoms, but I still haven't figured it out how those symptoms from the technical terms, how it looks like in from my lived experience, and even something like now, for example, myself, if I wanted to, if I got a kid, how will it affect me as a man? Because I understand there are also biological changes to how men, take being a new dad, and what that looks like. I think, I'm sure down the line we are going to have that conversation.
I have so much content.
So, a 2023 Ministry of Health report found that 25% of Kenyans avoid care due to stigma. So I think for the viewers at home, people don't know stigma. Stigma is a negative perception of a situation or of a person. What does stigma look like? Because people bandy about this name, and over the last couple of years, tumefanya so much work around mental health, and people imagine that sasa tumejua, but they don't know what someone could be perpetuating stigma, and they don't know. No, they don't know what they're doing. So what does stigma look like? Maybe at home or even in the workplace. Yeah.
Let me tell you, the biggest enemy for mental health progress in Kenya and anywhere in the world, but mostly let me just talk in the Kenyan context, is stigma, because there's a lot of, and it's actually brewed by, misconceptions about mental illness.
Yeah.
Like, I worked in the disability forum or space for some time, and for some time there were no representatives of persons with psychosocial disability. So sometimes when I'd go for these meetings, you're asked, people stare at you badly first because they're like, what are you doing here? You don't have because we have an invisible disability. So like, you don't have a disability, so why are you here?
Maybe define the psychosocial disabilities.
Okay. A psychosocial disability is basically a condition that deters, it prevents you from functioning, or rather doing day-to-day activities on an equal basis with others. You need some form of accommodation to be able, to be on the same platform with others, because maybe you've woken up in the morning, you're on medication, you're heavy medication. So you've woken up in the morning, you need more time. You can't report at 8 a.m. like everyone else. But when you get to that office, you will do work, you'll do good work. You'll do work that will be, you'll compensate for that time that you missed. But then again, there are no hakuna accommodations kama hizo, because people think it's favoritism, but it's something that I require for my brain to adjust to that environment. So when you have those barriers that deter you from achieving your full potential because of your condition, that's a disability. So psychosocial disability and mental health conditions that, they cause, there are barriers within society. It's actually it's a social model. It's more of this environment that's causing you not to live your full potential. It's not that condition, because with that condition, and you're given the right accommodation or the adequate or appropriate accommodation, you can live with that condition very well.
And I love the fact that you've mentioned that. Because people think of support as something crazy, for example, maybe for people who are physically disabled, things like ramps, elevators, and so people see this thing that is they need this physical thing to see that this person is impaired. That's why they need extra help. But even, for example, you and I, we can't operate without our specs. And it's something so small, but it causes a world of difference in how we operate. And as even when you're talking about psychosocial, it's not even limited to the work environment, how we associate with others, being able to live a full life. So anyway, you were saying
so when I was going for those meetings, they're like, okay, what's your disability? Because everyone would ask. And I'd be like, I have they call them mental disability, but psychosocial is more friendly. Psychosocial disability, because it captures the societal aspect. So when I'd say I have bipolar, there's one lady who asked me, but you're so calm. And I was like, okay, so what do you know about people who have bipolar? So the thing, it was even, even people used to say, hey, that girl is bipolar, just out of the fact that, she went and, acted in a certain way.
As a descriptive word.
So I realized a lot of people, even within the space, there was a form of, they're waiting for, it's like you're a ticking bomb. It's like you feel people staring at you like, what will she do? Then the day ends, they're like, hey, this chick is lying. She's not sick, because of that that misconception that because I have bipolar, it's something I won't be reactive. Complete. Like, people don't understand with these conditions. There are days you're okay. It's like lucidity. It's like you're lucid some days you're not, So some days, when you have a mental illness, some days you're okay.
Yeah.
Some days you're fighting for your life.
And we mask it very well.
And we mask it so well because of the society that we live in.
Yeah.
I can be going through hell, but I can afford to smile.
Yeah.
Because that is how I've lived my whole life. I've been taught how to mask.
Yeah.
But I guess, hey, now this is where I have to ask you, what was the initial question?
Oh, yeah.
The initial question for me to go to the disability. Yeah. What was it?
How does it look
the
like?
stigma. Yeah, so it's very subtle. Yeah. Sometimes, even in this field, guy, I do not want to, what is it called? Throw anyone under the bus.
Yes.
But even in the mental health field, you feel there's still not, even people who have the conditions will also discriminate against. It's sort of like you'll find someone maybe who's in denial of their own condition, or they've done the steps and they're good at managing it. So they'll judge someone else and they'll think they're healed. They'll think, hey, it's over.
They've stepped away from the space. Yeah.
And then they'll be like, you're the one who's not trying hard enough. So it can also come from someone who also has lived experience. That's the funniest thing. Yeah. And it also looks like, telling someone, not including someone maybe in work projects because you feel like they can't handle the pressure. But really it's not that they can't handle the pressure. It's just that you're discriminating against them because you don't want to deal with whatever can happen if they get, an episode. That's maybe in the workspace. In the friendship space, it can be, you're also not called for events. Or people walk on eggshells around you. They there's a certain way you're treated. It's so subliminal. It's just, and some people don't even understand they're doing it. You can even be discriminated in your own family setting because everyone is just looking at you and everyone is just, I know what will we do with this person? And, and it's hush tones when you're talking about them. And, all this is stigma because it's like you're having a negative attitude towards me because of my condition and because of what you know about it. But you're not really putting it into context because even you, Ngunu, and me, we might be experiencing ADHD, but it's on different levels. Maybe my time blindness can be extremely horrible and yours maybe you have OCD, so it's not something that you can. The stigma comes in because people think once I've known a certain condition is like this, then everyone who has that condition falls under those but it's not like that. It's all uniquely
it's a unique experience for all of us. And I love that you mentioned that because I think when people, because that's where we started from, people think of a negative perception as we won't talk to you, we won't acknowledge you, but there's also this other flip side of being infantilized,
like you can't do something.
We can't do this. And it's always like a simple conversation. Hey, we want to do this. Where do you need accommodations? That is not such a difficult ask. And this applies both home environment, at workplace, where we find people like we are going to plan this, we are going to contribute for this. We won't ask Nani, we'll just tell him down the line, hey, we are going to do this.
And even in the family aspect, there's that one for you're going for events, but you don't tell this person because you're kind of ashamed. Because maybe this person had a setback because of their condition and maybe they went through an episode and they're in that phase in their life where maybe it's a downtime. And so you're ashamed of this person because maybe this person was like a big shot somewhere in a company working in like they're called what? This like big companies.
Multinationals.
Multinationals or something. And they were not able to keep that job because of their condition. So there's that aspect of shame from their family. They don't. I have an example. I want to be very vague about it. So, but there's an individual I know who the mom and the dad are very ashamed of him because he used to be something, and he had like this episode that really took a huge chunk of his life because the family didn't know how to deal with it. It was now he's sick. The one thing is you belong in a mental hospital. So even the treatment that he got, even the medication was a bit too harsh. that it kind of, let me say, fried his brain in a way, because now he lost his personality from that, let me call it maltreatment, because of ignorance, basically. And so there's always that shame around his family. And I usually feel like it's such a bad thing, because I think if we look at it in the African context, people say that mental illness is not something that was experienced in the African, even Tene, like Kitambu. But I lived in Kiambu for some time. And I'm telling you, I saw so many individuals with mental illness, and no one even, like, people had accepted them as they were. There's a gentleman I used to see when if I'm correct in my diagnosis or whatever, he looked like, or he seemed, or he presented himself as someone who had schizophrenia. But because the society didn't make him feel like he had schizophrenia, this man was living his life. He'd go singing on the streets and people would sing along with him and say hi.
Accommodations.
And say hi. And, he'd do something strange, but no one makes him feel strange about it. And so I realized this man did not know he was sick. But in society, what also stigma does is no one ever makes you forget you're sick. It's like constantly telling you, when you're mgonjwa.
And it's subtle.
It's so subtle.
They don't shout it.
It's like you can, like, for me, my profession, before now, because now so many psychologists have come out to say they have lived experience. But when we started out in this mental health struggle, it was like people would discriminate against me. Like, how can you be sick and help anyone? And nothing sick. So who says I'm sick? Like, it's like, you can't help anyone. This person is a psychologist, but can they really? And even it's your own friends who are really going to say, Maze, this one can't. So someone comes for a referral, like, Grace is a psychologist. Can I? I'm like, hey, lakini huyo. So nasikianga akona, So there was just a lot of discrimination along those lines. But it's mainly because of misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think ever since I also started talking about this publicly, you kind of have to think about, for example, for you have to think about your work as a profession. And also, like, we have to think about how does this present, how does this affect the people around us, how, because there is a negative perception. And so like, there's also a negative perception by association. For example, in my case, it's that it had gotten so bad, then I got better. And I'm like, it really can't get worse than what I've experienced. You look back and think, it's better I speak up. So when the next time I'm there, for the people that care about me, they'll be able to see the signs. Because on the flip side is that you will suffer in silence. But you won't have extended, like, a rope for people to, to, like, bring you in if you're drowning. And so one of the things that I always insist to people, even maybe as we move to the next bit, is that community is important. Talking about what you're going through is important. Juu sisi watoka overshare. You start getting worried.
Like, they say too much.
Exactly. So you are concerned that is this me oversharing, or do I need to ask for help? Trying to, and maybe it's finding people who be able to understand that this is just oversharing, and like tukubali to oversharing is part of our personalities. Let us stop putting it on ADHD or whatever. But even learning the language, because learning the language of asking for help pia ni kitu, I don't think, like, even within that stigma, within those spaces, people having the language of, hey, you know what, I'm not feeling okay, I need help, I need to see someone, I need to see a psychologist, I need to at this particular moment, even asking, because I've been in situations whereby people are asking, you guys, I need to be taken to an institution, and to remove the negative perception of that, because this is someone asking for help. We all need help from time to time. It's just that the help may look different. Our struggles may look different. Yote ni spectrum. from functionality to needs. How we function is a spectrum. Our needs in a differ. But if we start talking about our stigma hapa, but like I hope for our viewers that they can be able to see that, because it is easy. We will exclude this person, or we are not going to talk to this person. This other negative, this other maybe the slightly subtle one, the infantilizing. People take you.
You can't do it.
You can't make decisions, or you can't function.
You can't live alone.
It is. It's just like figuring out, especially we even for quote unquote neurotypicals, of people who are not struggling with we don't have mental health struggles. We all have our accommodations. There are people who don't take dairy for whatever reason. People who can't take meat. People who don't.
People who need insulin shots. No one ever makes them feel bad about it.
This is just part of this part of their lives. This is what is going to help them live full lives. And it's the same thing for us.
Yeah.
So people come to you for therapy. This falls under what we'd call psychosocial services.
Yeah.
What the initial perception, especially kwa wanaumes or therapists for the week, you can do better.
Yeah.
How do you approach that conversation? How do you, for someone, maybe you get a referral, please talk to this person, I think they're unwell. Someone voices their concerns. How do you convince them, or what is a pitch for therapy? Talk therapy specifically.
Okay. First of all, like if I get a new client, I try to make them as comfortable as possible by telling them, stop thinking about this as a medical thing. Like it's not. Stop making it look like I am sick now. I've gone to hospital. I've gone to see a therapist. So mazeni ko pabaya. And it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. So I like. I'm more of an eclectic psychologist, so I incorporate a lot of things and it depends on the individual, because I'm more client-centered. It's about, I'm a Carl Jung fan. Yeah, so it's about, what does this individual need at that moment?
Yeah.
It can also be someone who's deeply religious. I can go your way, if it's someone who does not believe in God at all, I will still go your way.
You'll meet them at their
I'll meet you at your point of need. And so I try to open up the space to, what do you need? You're the one who's guiding me. You're the one who's the driver of this bus. You're the player. Me, I'm just the referee. I'm just gonna tell you, go like this, go like this. But it's just, I'm trained to guide you through questions and through maybe exercises to what you should address, but you're the one who's addressing it. So I make them feel like they're in charge of the process. Even the duration, because sometimes I go extra time, but within my limit. I have to remember it's within my limit as well. So,
and also it's not a one day event. It's
and it's not a one day event. So I always make this person feel like, I always tell the client that this is your process. You're the one who's also guiding me where you want to address. And if someone doesn't want to address something, I will make you know you need to address it eventually. But if you're not comfortable right now, it's fine. So I find that my clients are more comfortable with that. Yeah.
Okay.
And let me address the aspect of men. I'm actually, I have been very interested in men's therapy, because even in the work that I do in the field of sexual violence, a lot of men don't report because of the shame. And it's quite understandable, because no one expects a weakness in men is seen even in going to seek help, But I've realized men appreciate alternative methods. They don't want to come and sit on your couch and discuss about their feelings. Men don't do that for some reason, because they're also you guys are also unlearning, a lot, And so I'm realizing, if you call men for a session for nyama and it's just men, no woman, because if you find there's a session I organized for, and I found that I had to leave. Fine, I'm the one who had organized it, but me being there would have created a barrier for these men not opening up.
Yeah.
When they're together and of course you plant a professional inside there.
Yeah.
Who can at least guide the sessions. But when they're together and when they are, interacting over social events or social aspects like, just having tea or having nyama, they open up more. And this man will go home feeling okay. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that they need to talk about what's going on. Yeah. It can be they'll just talk about, the football team and they're not really talking about the football team. Yeah. But so they're different. It's good to incorporate different or alternative methods in therapy because I've realized not everyone responds the same.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for men, and again, men are not a homogeneous entity.
Yeah.
That we all act or behave the same.
Yeah.
But there are people who for them talk therapy works. Down the line, I have someone in mind who's going to come and talk about their lived experience. Plus, they work around art therapy. Aroba.
Aroba is here.
He's not here. Yeah, he's not here.
Yeah.
So down the line, he's supposed to come and talk about that. One of the things that I did only once was, and people like us, we went to Karura. As men, tukakimbia. So it was a bit of like walking and cycling. We only did once because it was around pre-COVID or around that time. And I found it worked. It's just that we need to find alternative means. One of the other things that people do nowadays, they don't do it for therapy, but I think it also works like that, is people arrange like for five-a-side football matches. Wanaenda once a week or once a month, people go and do that. So it is possible to incorporate therapy within structures that are a consistent and we have willful participants. Like even probably in the next couple of weeks, personally, one of the things that I wanted to get into was crocheting.
What? Yes, nice. Yes. I like that.
I want to sit. And like sasa hiyo, of course, watu kuna wanaomako like, dude, be serious. But
the thing about you is you've never cared. Please don't start. Don't start.
Toxic masculinity.
It's not your portion.
It's never been my portion. So like I want to try it out. Because like also my hands shake and stuff. And like even as a release, I feel like having something like physical as that. Because like running, there are things that need certain situations. But I was looking at something like crocheting. Hata nikifika hapa mapema, I can take 10-15 minutes, work on something, then go on. So it's and I'll try and share my experience. Now I'll keep people
But if
posted.
I can mention something, your hands have really improved. They used to be
These two,
you got this.
Yeah. I'll check out the first episode and this one. If there's a
difference,
maybe could So this is maybe you can try from your personal experience, maybe what you've done professionally. Ni kuje kwako, there's this pal of mine and a struggle. What is the first safe thing to say to them?
First of all, if you come to me and you're telling me like someone is struggling, I can ask you, have they shared this with you? Most of the times we are maybe assuming.
Observant.
And okay, you can tell me, but hey, I'm very observant and I've just seen this person is not okay. The first thing I'll tell you is approach them. Because unakuja kuniongelelea about you can't help. And even anything I tell you will not help you to... Okay, it will help you help this person, but it will not help this person directly. So the first thing I would like to know is, have you approached this person? And if you're having issues approaching, I think the person who I'll deal with is the person who's here. So it's you who I'll guide on how to approach your friend to assist them. Because I can't assume just because you've come and you observe that this person is like this, it might be a misconception. So I'll guide you on how to talk to them so that they can open up.
Yeah. So like now take us through that process. Like just a brief like a couple of steps of because of course I get maybe you can't talk about specific language, but what are the steps that someone can take?
Okay, so for example, Ngunu, you've come to me and maybe it's your pal, it's your boys, and maybe how you relate with this guy is you guys play PS. So I'll encourage you, create time or a session where you play PS with this guy, and then you drop the question, or I like it when, or rather, I like telling people, use your experience. I was struggling with this and this and this. Because when you share your experience, a lot of people tend to be like, oh my God, I'm not alone. And it's okay to talk about this. Yeah. So they open up. So depending on what interaction you have with this person, you can use one of the things that you share, a common interest, to introduce the topic and, talk about your own personal experience. It will help them to open up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think with my personal experience, the fact that I've spoken about this so much out openly, I get so many people, and I don't say I've figured it out, but I've had enough experiences to know how to navigate it. But I usually struggle to tell someone else, to answer that question, because for others, like for you, there's the theoretical part, and it's just that I practice it without knowing how to describe it. And there's also the fact that I can't take every single referral. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah.
Like when I was running a support group, the referrals. And it was just getting into COVID. There was a lot of struggles back then.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And I don't know, like things like so like what you said, it's like try and meet people at whatever level you interact with. Maybe don't be afraid of bringing it up. Like don't walk on eggshells around it. Don't address it head on. And I don't know, like maybe there's a level of, I don't want to say aggressive, but you have to be upfront about it. Because sometimes I go, hajataka kujibu my first question. You should not. Endelea.
Especially, and why I'm saying, consider the interaction you have. Because if this is someone who you talk openly with, you can just go straight shoot the question.
Yeah.
But if there's someone who is, because the people are different, and someone may be more sensitive, so there's a tactical way of going about it.
Yeah.
And also, I want to mention on that, there's something about us people who have mental health conditions. We want to be saviors because you want to create the space that was never there for you.
Yeah.
But you need to also consider there's some things you can't. There's only a stretch you can take, and if you can't do it, refer to someone else. That's why the network is there. And sometimes there's someone who can come to me for counseling and I'm not in the capacity
to headspace,
yeah, and someone can, even a friend, you can come to me and you'd be like, Grace, can you? And I created that culture within my friends, because I started asking them. I'd be like, do you have the capacity to listen to me? And I found they also started asking me, because it's something. It's you create the life you want around you in a way,
and you have to be intentional about it,
and very intentional about it. And
I think one of my favorites authors, he writes about ADHD, is called Dr. Ned Hallowell. He always says that healing happens in community. And we have to be conscious of the fact that we can't be someone's, or an individual can't be someone's whole community.
Yeah.
And you also can't be someone else's whole community. So you have to build spaces around that. And that's why I loved what you do with Mental Heaven. what people like us is supposed to stand for, like this community where there are X number of people with lived experience. So that like, at a single time, let's say if you have a group of 10 or 15, there is someone always going to have a capacity to answer your questions, take your phone call. If you are maybe, let's say if you are hospitalized or you are stuck at home, someone can be able to visit you. But having that expectation of one person, and this is, this can be a partner, and like, even for others, we all have, like, let's say right now you're a parent, there are different things that you'd want or need from different people.
Yeah.
And that is the only way to live healthily. And before maybe we get into what the work that you do with Wango Kanja, what's the one thing that you'd tell someone who's maybe ashamed of seeking help?
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing that I even realized in my own experience is, if you're ashamed, other people will be ashamed of you as well. They're really just projecting what you're showing them.
Yeah.
So if you're not ashamed to ask for help, if you be honest with yourself, a lot of people will not see that as, oh my God, now this person needs, And even if they do, you won't feel so nini about it. So the first thing is, you need to be okay with you need to acknowledge that you need help. You need to acknowledge that you're experiencing something. Own that experience in the sense that, I don't want to own it forever. This is no, but own the experience. It define you. Yeah, so that you can know the next step. You can, because it's acknowledgement first, then taking the next steps of, now I need help. But if you have not acknowledged what you're going through, you won't come out to say you need help.
Yeah.
And other people will just be thinking, this person needs help, but then again, no one will approach it because you have not approached it. So I've come to realize, when you're not ashamed of your own condition, a lot of people are comfortable around you. Because even when you make jokes about it, or when I find that people are more comfortable around me. There are those ones who start, with you can mention something and everyone is just like weirded out, and you can feel the bad energy, but you laugh it out. You're just this person maybe just does not understand, and it's okay. And that thing you were saying for also, what is it? Like, not expecting one person to hold on to. Even in, like, let me say, people who are not experiencing mental health conditions, even in a marriage, the man needs his boys, the girl needs his, because you can't expect this person to be your whole support.
Yeah.
So creating a network, people who understand you and you're aligned in the same, it helps.
And also for our viewers, an uncomfortable truth is that getting better is hard work.
Ooh,
that is a very,
my God.
Ufanye therapy, you take medication, you still need to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
That work iko on your side, it's what we refer to as shadow work.
Yes.
No one else will see it, but see at you unaenda therapy, once a week. The therapy work immediately you leave the therapist's office kazi imeisha ni it doesn't work like that. That is a very uncomfortable truth that people need to like, you need to internalize, because I know people who do that. I've been going for therapy. No, it doesn't. Therapy is like learning. There's only so much this other person is going to do if you're not serious about it. So the things that maybe we were left with would be how to lead a functional life that is socially acceptable, and something that you'd mentioned that we'd probably have to cover was around how people with mental illness, what rights do they have? So if you can maybe just do like a quick summary of that, then
I'll try to be brief. When you have it, it's difficult to be brief. But anyway, so please ask the first question. I've gotten stuck on the second one. It's functional.
Yeah, how can we lead functional lives?
Yes, it's very possible but as you're saying, you need to do the shadow work. And I like telling my clients, day one, you're going to get out of this office feeling amazing and thinking you've solved everything. And then I'll tell you that is where the work begins. Yeah. When you leave this office, because I also did the same process and I felt amazing. I did this deep trauma, healing thing, but that did not take away my bipolar.
Yeah.
That did not take away my ADHD. It already happened, so you're not taking your brain back. But you need to first acknowledge that you're going through this. Like for me, I acknowledge that my moods will shift, and I have to be awareness. Acknowledge first. Once you acknowledge, you'll research on it. You'll understand your condition. You're the first person who's supposed to be your own doctor before you even go to a doctor. Even when you go to the doctor or psychiatrist to get diagnosed, and please, psychologists don't diagnose people. Psychologists do not diagnose people. You have to go to a psychiatrist. And the difference is a psychiatrist is a medical doctor. So once you go to a psychiatrist, even when they give you medication, I think you've been in this. I remember calling you and I was so sad about it. Like, you need to understand that there are different phases. That you'll feel weak when you're taking that medication. You'll feel things. You'll feel waves of, and having that support system. I had to call you because you had been on medication. I'd be like, guy, now what do I do? Is this my whole life? I was, that's grief because it's lost. You need to grieve that side of you that you thought you would be or something, and start welcoming this side of you that you are and that you're becoming. And once you understand yourself, you understand your condition, you can understand the accommodations you require. 100%. And so you can speak for yourself. And speaking out for yourself is so important.
Self-advocacy.
Yeah, self-advocacy begins before you advocate for someone else. And it's a lot of, because the society we lived in, we masked and we really dealt with high pressures that we didn't need. Most of us are very ambitious. We have some OCD-like behavior because things have to be a certain way. Because ikitoka tu hivi, staweza kumanage. But you don't need that anymore. You need to understand your boundaries. Especially if you want to function in a way, your boundaries are so important. Understanding this is where I can take it. This is, ikipita hapo I can't. And being okay with it. Because people will get mad at you. People will think you're pretending. You just have to be firm and say,
and also the internal shame. I wanted to fike pale, but
now, asiwezi fika. And also that self-advocacy and that introspection, it requires a lot of grace. The same grace you're extending to others, please extend to yourself.
Difficult
the compassion
lesson.
And that is the hardest. People think even the forgiveness for others is hard. Try forgiving yourself. Because the self, you're the one who you remain with. You're that person. So we really want to, and if you find yourself attributing your suffering or whatever to other people, you're the problem. Because it's always you.
Another uncomfortable truth.
So that is the one thing. Acknowledging and finding ways around it. And it can be holistic ways. But what works for you? Because you can also inquire, what works for you? Nini evil. But it has to be what works for you. Yes. The second part was
there's a person with mental health rights.
Oh, that saved my whole life. In 2021, I was introduced to the UNCRPD, which is the UN Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability. It was the best document I have experienced in a while. I got trained.
I think this is one of the MOH, Ministry of Health.
Yeah, the MOH have adopted it, but there's an organization called UDPK, United Disabled Persons of Kenya. Those people are doing great work in disability advocacy, and even including persons with psychosocial disability in the advocacy. And it's that once I found out about the UNCRPD, oh God, I don't know if you know Liz. Ombati.
Yeah, Liz Ombati, I know her.
Should we mention names? Yeah. But anyway, she's also, I'm not saying anything bad. Yeah,
No,
she's the one who,
she's a legend. She's
a legend in mental health.
I've never met her, but she was the first person that I found online who, when I was struggling,
me too. She's the first person I found online when I started mental health and I needed people.
Shout out Liz Ombati.
Hey Liz. Yeah, so Liz also has worked with me in this disability field, and it's it makes you feel in charge of your life. These rights are applicable to persons with mental illness. The medical system does not tell you that. They don't want you to be empowered. Listen, guys, they don't want you to be empowered. Because once you know you have rights, you'll start asking for things. You'll start saying, I don't want to be confined, and you have a right to say that. You'll start, madaktari watakosa pesa. Because it basically focuses on your access to justice and your right to autonomy.
Yeah.
You're your own person. And a lot of the medical aspect does not want you to know that because you're a cash cow,
Yeah.
And the medication is expensive. They want you to be on medication forever, So once you understand your rights, and that was one of the major turning points in my life, understanding that I was a person before because it's person first.
Yeah.
I was a person before with rights before I was a person with a mental illness.
Condition,
the UNCRPD. If you can give me a whole session for that, we can do it.
We will have one. We have one.
So they do have rights.
Okay. Maybe you'll try and see if you'll give me some resources maybe that I can share when I'm posting it.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up, you work for an organization called Wango Kanja
Foundation.
Wango Kanja Foundation.
Wango Kanja is actually my boss, the founder.
So could you tell people a little bit about them, what they do?
Okay. So I work for Wango Kanja Foundation, which is a non-profit organization as well as a feminist organization. And it's around, or rather it involves human rights and support of persons, it's support of survivors of sexual violence. So basically, what we do is offer access to justice and mental health services to survivors. I work in this field because I'm also a survivor of sexual violence. So it gives me why I go towards. I always feel like I go through things so that I may be able to empower myself to help another person who went through what I went through, but they did not, or rather I did not have the support. So I try. So basically, Wango Kanja Foundation is offers that form of support to survivors, the access to justice and mental health services. It's not the easiest, especially, but it's such a painful reality that sexual violence is something that is ignored by society. I wanted to give a quick example of when I was going with a cab to work or something. I was going somewhere, and this cab guy is telling me about this story about this lady who really disturbed him, and he was like, hata nilikuwa nataka kuwaitia mtu arepiwe sijui. Nikamuuliza, why would you say that? And they're like, see, ni kitu nyi wanawake mmezoea. They think rape is sex for women. And I asked him, how would you talk about rape if it was happening to you? Wanaume najua ni different. I say different. That same way you're feeling like that about, it's also like that for women because it's not something that is welcome. It's not consensual. So
it is abuse.
It's abuse. And so Wango Kanja Foundation has really done extensive work to expose even, currently we did an expo, like we followed up with the BBC expose, and one of the perpetrators that was, I don't think I should talk about that, but like we've exposed the Nini for the T sector, the sex for work. And we've supported those women in accessing justice and also accessing medical assistance because some of them have really been messed up. So it's that's the work I do. It's not the easiest thing.
If it was easy, then
and I like that at work we are offered debriefing sessions and psychosocial support as well, even as counselors.
That is important work.
So another thing, we also have a toll-free line, and if someone doesn't feel comfortable in talking about their experience or their ordeal, we have a toll-free line 1519 if you need to talk about your experience or your ordeal or your abuse ordeal, whatever. Like, please feel free to reach out. There'll be someone to support you and work with you through. That's either if you need legal support or if you need psychosocial support.
Where else can you be found? Do you have like a website?
We have a website, Wango Kanja Foundation.
.com or .org?
Yes, .org. And then we also have social media platforms. Just search for Wangukanta Foundation. And then we also have that toll-free line, 1519. And we have a physical office. We take walk-ins as well. We have a physical office in Buruburu Phase 5. The information, rather the location, is accessible on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Na hata ukiandika kwa Uber hapo Wangukanta Foundation watakuleta direct.
Watakuleta. Is the toll-free line text or call?
It's call.
And is it operational 24/7 or within specific time?
Let's say it's operational 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah, because there are people who have been assigned for that, for handling that unit or that department. Yeah.
And you offer help to people wherever they are in the country, right?
Yeah, wherever they are in the country, because we have footprints in all 47 counties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's important work. And unfortunately, the last 2 or 3 years, the importance of your work has come to the light because of all these incidences that have happened.
Yeah.
All we ask, and again, if the work was easy, everyone do it. It is unfortunate that this is work that has to be done.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for you for coming today. I am sure we are going to see you again down the line because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah.
So much to get deeper into it, because I just wanted for build a level of foundational knowledge for someone who wants to this is their first time talking about mental health. Even differentiating between mental health, mental illness, and mental wellness. Those are three words.
Different, yeah.
And even for us, it takes a while before figuring out how to navigate those three terms. Neurodiversity, we are going to talk about down the line.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of doing something around bipolar. Maybe later in the year, we are going to talk about that. But yes, thank you for coming. And also, people can find is mental heaven still.
It's still there.
It's still functioning,
Guy, it's still there. Mental heaven is still there. As on Instagram, it's at mental_heaven.
Yeah.
On Twitter, it's at heaven_mental.
Yeah.
At Twitter, Guy X.
Yeah.
My age is
I still
showing.
call it Twitter though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So, and what else? And on Facebook, we're still on Facebook also. Wow.
Is the support group still running?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
But I really want to start it up again.
Okay.
Naanza kupata moto.
Okay. Please.
Yeah. So mental heaven is very much available.
Because I think it's something. I think people, even as professionals, I think there is an underestimation of how important peer support is.
Oh, it's so important.
Yeah, but thank you for coming. It has been a wonderful episode. I think I've learned a lot. I think our viewers back at home will learn a lot. You can find us on YouTube, on X or Twitter, and on Instagram, and also on TikTok at Liminal Minds. Please like, please share, please subscribe. If you have any questions to ask, please free to DM or comment. We've got so much even at this particular moment we haven't released an episode yet, but just from the promo stuff, I've got a lot of calls, a lot of text. We are grateful for that. But please, twende kwa platforms, subscribe, share, comment, tell people about it. That's how we build this audience. That's how we build this community. So that even when we start having maybe other questions, because I have the things that I want to discuss, but I would also like to hear from you what you think is important to cover, what you think we need to talk more about, maybe even the type of guests that you want to have, and even organizing more live interactive sections. So thank you. This has been the Liminal Minds, where minds color beyond the margins. Thank you.